when you hear these hip-hop stories and they keep telling you the story of Biggie and Tupac and some shit like that, you never hear names like Jake being included.
The fucked up thing about that whole Bad Boy Death Row shit was that I invited both of these to my birthday party, and I don't know what the happened.
Hey, oh yeah, I got it. P. Diddy was there, other celebrities and stuff. SUGE pulled up, it was just him and Jake.
SUGE and Puff got into a screaming match, and it looked like it was getting serious.
It was always like something between them. SUGE came to me that night, going around the party, what he used to do with the cigar and just kind of like, you know, be the big guy in the room, you know?
Jake was the first time rap turned into street.
I heard a bunch of commotion and people running and screaming and whatnot.
That death is arguably the most important death in hip-hop because...
Let's rewind to one of hip-hop's most notorious rivalries, the East Coast versus West Coast feud. Many believe this bitter battle sparked the tragic deaths of Tupac Shakur and the notorious B.I.G. But the real question is, where did it all begin? At the heart of the storm was a figure known as Big Jake.
In my life at this point, I'm making a transition to do positive things and to, you know, try to alleviate a lot of the bullshit that's going on out here with the streets with these youngsters that ain't knowing.
Big Jake was a high-ranking member of the OG Peru gang and a close associate, even bodyguard, to Death Row Records' Suge Knight. In December 1995, a birthday party thrown by Jermaine Dupri brought the fierce camps of Death Row and Bad Boy Records together, including their leaders Suge and Diddy. The tension between them was thick, and it exploded.
They had like their little words, right? And they went outside, and they went in the middle of the street.
They were in the middle with Puff
The
and
middle
Suge?
of the street, Puff and Suge.
Wow.
Outside in Atlanta. And
this is at your party?
Yeah.
Is it a calm conversation or they?
No, it's not a calm conversation.
Okay.
But
not just them.
It's a very hostile conversation.
And their crews is
Ain't no crew. I mean, Suge has got one person. Puff got a crew. Suge got one dude with him.
Okay.
Right? And all I know is Puff started drinking his champagne while they was talking, and I guess somebody must have said something to him.
By the end of that night, Big Jake was shot and fatally wounded, allegedly by Puff Daddy's right-hand man, Anthony Wolf Jones.
And next thing I know, you know, Wolf, rest in peace, you know, he let off a shot and let off a couple of shots, and Suge Man got right there.
Wow.
In Atlanta.
Wow.
Many see this moment as the spark that ignited the East Coast-West Coast war, shaking the entire hip-hop world.
That was the beginning of that whole
Wow.
Like, I mean, it started at the Source Awards, but I'm saying for
like
to get,
some real,
once it got real.
So you're saying like Big and maybe Pac might have been like.
They ain't even had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, but it affected like it's.
Yeah, it went into that, but they ain't had nothing to do with this.
Right.
This was all like CEO to CEO.
But the story gets murky. For years, Wolf was the man whispered to be the killer. Jermaine Dupri even supported this theory in recent interviews. However, Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, broke his silence, suggesting Wolf was wrongly accused.
Wolf did not shoot Jake. Wolf was close to Suge when Jake got shot. Case in point, you understand? Wolf said he did not shoot Jake. He had no reason to lie. Wolf said he wished he would have kept this relationship with Suge. He had no reason to stop talking to that man because of him and Puff things.
Deal claims the real shooter was a man named Jason, who acted in defense of his girlfriend after an argument with Suge, and Big Jake turned violent.
Jake arguing with a cat about his girl or their situation. And the dude who shot Jake, yes, he was from the Bronx, he was from the Valley, yeah, he knew Wolf and them, but it was coincidental that Jake came up dead behind that, about an argument over another man's girl, or whatever that situation was.
The feud was more than music or style. It was a volatile mix of ego, pride, and rising fame that transformed the US into a battlefield for beats and bars.
I never seen that shit before. Them New York niggas is the coldest killing niggas I ever seen in history of that kill that play. They were called the play for the overlay. They started shooting across the street to make everybody look. We looked, the dude came out of nowhere and just touched Jake. And Jake was about 400 pounds. He hit him like what, 4 times, 7 times?
About 5.
I mean, he just kept shooting, just touching him, bop, bop, bop. But the whole time he was looking at Suge like, you next, nigga. And we like, oh, and I'm standing right behind them. We like, it's happening so fast.
At its core were two titans, the notorious B.I.G., the East Coast king under Diddy's wing, and Tupac Shakur, the fiery West Coast icon signed to Suge Knight's death row. In 1995, tensions boiled over at the Source Awards in Atlanta. Suge Knight took a public jab at Diddy, inviting artists tired of executive producers trying to be all in the videos to join death row.
Any artists out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star and don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing, come to death row.
I mean, the whole crowd started booing, and man, I thought to myself, like, why would you do that?
The East Coast crowd booed, but Suge and his crew stood firm. Later, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg responded fiercely, declaring the West Coast wasn't backing down. This wasn't just a feud, it was a full-blown war playing out across stages and streets alike.
An artist named Tim Dog did a song called Compton, out of nowhere. You like New York, why y'all, why he take a shot? Nobody really rebutted him, they kind of let it slide. And then more and more artists start taking shots.
Diddy tried to calm the storm, calling for unity at the Grammys, but the energy had already spiraled beyond control. Not long after, Big Jake's murder sent shockwaves through the scene. Suge Knight doubled down, securing Tupac's release from prison with a $1.4 million bond, personally picking him up in a limousine.
Then we had to fly a smaller plane from New York to the area we had to go to visit him out of prison. So we had to take a jet because the big plane wouldn't be too big. Hour and some limousine ride from the jet.
Tupac wasted no time making Death Row's rivalry with Bad Boy personal. His tracks like Hit 'Em Up were raw, venomous attacks aimed directly at Biggie, Puffy, and anyone associated. The media dubbed it the Coastal Rap War. Fans took sides, and the rivalry's impact went far beyond music. It changed hip-hop forever. Tragedy struck on September 7th, 1996, when Tupac was shot in a Las Vegas drive-by just hours after a Mike Tyson fight, dying days later and leaving the world stunned.
Suspects or motive in the rapper and actor Tupac Shakur, who died last Friday the 13th after being gunned down in a drive-by following the Mike Tyson-Bruce Seldon boxing match September 7th.
6 months later, on March 9th, 1997, Biggie met a similar fate in Los Angeles, killed in a drive-by shooting that remains unsolved. Rumors surrounded Suge Knight, who was heading to prison for a parole violation just a week before. In February 1997, in a rare moment of reconciliation, Snoop Dogg and Puffy appeared on The Steve Harvey Show calling for peace, with Snoop reminding fans that kids around the world were watching. But by then, the damage was done, and the scars on hip-hop culture ran deep. The mystery of Big Jake Robles' death in 1995 remains tangled in conflicting stories and unanswered questions. Gene Deal accused Suge Knight of slapping Jermaine Dupri that night and called Dupri a liar who hid upstairs during the shooting.
Jermaine Dupri is a liar and the truth ain't in him. He ain't see a damn thing. He was in the upstairs with Dallas Austin, cause Suge had slapped the shit out of him too. Jermaine Dupri was nowhere around, bruh. Mark Curry even said that Jermaine Dupri was upstairs in the club with mother Dallas Austin. There's no way he could have saw it. You understand what I'm saying? They lied on Wolf all these years, man. They lied on Wolf all these years. And he told that damn lie. That motherfucker's a liar and the truth ain't in him, man. And it just finally came out. Somebody who was right there who actually saw it too and knew it was because of Nicole. I told y'all, Wolf sat down and talked to me about this shit.
Deal also suggested that Jason, not Wolf, was the one who killed Big Jake after a heated fight involving Jason's girlfriend.
I've heard Wolf talk about it, and Wolf told me personally that he didn't do it. And I know everybody knew the guy who did it. It was this dude, he's dead now. He got killed in Atlanta about 2 or 3 years ago. His father was from the Bronx and he owned the cleaners. Now, did Wolf and them know him? Yeah, they probably knew him. He was from the Bronx, his part of town. His father owned the cleaners. They knew this guy. You understand? Him and Jake was arguing over this chick or whatever. Now, did Wolf do it? How could Wolf do it when he was next to Suge? He was right next to Suge when Jake got killed.
Despite all the accusations, no charges were ever filed in connection to Big Jake's death. The haunting questions persist, a dark chapter in the East Coast-West Coast saga that might never be fully solved. As the truth continues to unfold, one thing is clear. This story isn't finished yet. Stay tuned for more as we dive deeper into hip-hop's darkest chapters.